What it do, chosen ones? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Illyria. Welcome, 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 welcome to Illyria. I just wanted you guys to come in to say welcome. That was a reenactment of a scene from She's the Man when the principal's super weird and welcomes them like that. So I'm doing that to you. Have you seen She's the Man with Amanda Bynes? If you have not, go check it out. It's hilarious. And it's an awesome film about soccer, the beautiful game. And I wanted to talk to you guys today about let go and let your man. I think it's a hilarious and funky title, but it really makes a lot of sense. Welcome, first of all. I already said that, but you know what I'm saying, like to the Kimberly Ponce channel. And you guys are dope for tuning in. This is a video that's like, I feel like I really need to share it. You know what I'm saying? Like it needs to get shared. And I want to add a disclaimer as well that when I say let go and let your man, obviously, like the first thing that we always put first is God. So, like, put God first, but for the sake of making a point in the midst of modern dynamics and media, for now, let go and let your man is the point in the union between man and woman. Like, always put God first. I wanted to add that as a disclaimer. So, yes, if you've been with the channel for a minute, you know that I am switching up, like, new content, and right now we're kind of just, like, doing different discussions of how to, like, protect yourself in modern-day spiritual warfare, perspectives and opinions on modern-day warfare, and today, like, this is how modern-day warfare, like, affects man and woman, like, today in, like, the union. And I think just there's a lot of switch of roles where women are wanting to lead when really, like, women are the rib of their husband, you know? And so there's a lot of frustration and a lot of residual restlessness, like unrest in general, as an effect, as a consequence of this incompatible power struggle. Like, we're not supposed to power struggle. This might sound crass, but I actually really would like to explain what came to me today when I was thinking about it. When God ordains us to be in a relationship with another individual, He will bind us to that other person in certain ways. But also, like, that's the person that you're going to be intertwined with. And the reason I'm going to try and explain this in a way that is intimate and endearing and not crass. But I literally understood it today for, like, the first time of why, like, and I hope it's powerful because it was for me, like, of why women are submissive to the man that God ordains them to be with, and, like, why that is actually seriously a result, like a factor of interdependence when it's actually working. Like, when the woman is, like, letting her husband do the leading, do the providing, like, be the man of the household, and somewhere along the lines, like, I don't know, last decade and a half would be just like a super fast timeline of that disappearing and it's being normalized. I'm not sure what kickstarted that. That could be interesting if y'all want to think about leaving some comments below as to, like, what you think the origin was. Was it like was the origin of this shift in gender dynamics? Was it the beginning of Facebook? Was that when it started? Was it amped up when Instagram got on the train too? Was it worsened by TikTok? Like, what are your guys' thoughts on how the origin and like the perpetuation of further social media apps continues, like the spiral of men and women not figuring out how to treat each other, not knowing how to talk to each other, not knowing how to be in a relationship anymore? Like, let me know what you guys think on the origin points. So, but where we're at now is like seriously women like overtaking like the relationship and different kind of powers with social media, obviously, yeah, like I just touched on that, but there's a different power even person to person now. I think it had to do with the Me Too movement and then more up work on sexual harassment policies. I think that definitely had a part in it as well for why there became so much tension between men and women, especially like in America. But that's all toxic, really, if you know what I'm saying, because in the Bible, like the epiphany that I had today, listening to a YouTuber, female sister in Christ, amazing. Forget her channel at the top of my head, but she's really, really good. And she was describing that women are the rib of their husband, and the reason we're not supposed to like, you know, have sex with others that aren't going to be our life partner is because we're a part of that man, like when it's set out for us by God, like we're a part of that man as the female, in terms of like females, like we are the rib of the man that we're with. And so that helped me see everything in like a way of like, oh, it's literally not women being submissive. It's literally, it helped me literally see it so much, like, and understand, like, and I knew that, I literally knew, like, I went to a Christian private school, so like from preschool all the way up, like, I was being taught stories from the Bible, so I knew that we are, like, females are the rib of men, but I just never had, like, it never clicked until today when in terms of, like, why we do let them lead. It's because we're a part of them, but we make up them as well, like, we're a part of their strength. It's not like putting women down and saying, you can't, like, it's not like dismissing that women could execute the same expectations or obligations of men. Whew, we're really getting into it. But what it is saying is, like, women are nurturers. Women are comforters. Women are the fulcrum of any domestic bliss. Like, to put the yummy, delicious, hot food on the table, to keep it, like, cute in the apartment, to keep it, or the house, and, like, to keep it, like, clean. Like, we are the ones that, like, we have these wonderful roles. And so I'm like, it's interesting that modern day feminism is perverting that these roles are demeaning to us, and then therefore and then just segueing into, like, embracing men's responsibilities of being the boss lady, who, like, is it nice to men and, like, thinks that that's, like, a way to talk to men, just because we haven't had, like, good history in the past with, like, how some interactions have gone down. Like, there's still respect that needs to get paid. So the boss lady, like, for example, would be like, she does everything for herself, and it's all taken care of, and she's independent, and, like, everything financially, everything is all squared off, kind of like that Drake song that's coming to my mind right now. First, keys, no cable, working hard overtime. Yeah, like, there's that one Drake song that talks about how she's doing it all and independent, and you guys know which song I'm talking about. Well, I'll put it in the description link when I find out which one it is. in my mind, but it's promoted, and then that's like, she's really like the female bad, like she don't need no man. And I'm like, this is interesting that we're first of all taking away like the roles that women have, that need to be there, that need to get done. Like, people need to eat and things need to be clean. So I don't know why, like, those are like huge. What's wrong with women doing those roles and it being respected? It needs to be done. Men who are plumbers, they pull the wrench when it needs to be pulled. Women clean the toilet when it needs to be cleaned. And then it's not just women, but men do it too. But we don't need to like necessarily make it all about gender. It's just that I don't understand like why cooking and cleaning and being the caretaker and nurturer aren't roles that women are willingly going for anymore. What are your guys' thoughts? Do you think it's because social media creates like this accessible life to financial means of independence, therefore women no longer have to be quote unquote the expected obligated female caretaker of a family? So do you think it's pop culture that perpetuates like single life and do it myself like type of lifestyle, pull yourself up by your bootstraps? Like, what do you guys think about that and the exterior influences on male and female gender? Let me know. But I wanted to do a video on like let go and let your man, because they are the one that provide, to take care, like that. When we come together and we're both doing our roles, like, it's so about equality. That's literally both strengths and weaknesses coming together and creating harmony with diverse skills from diverse backgrounds. Like, some couples that come together like have all kinds of different skills and languages and expertise put together. When they're put together, like, they're so like on a roll of anything they can do together. Like the world's limitless, but like we really want to hype up the idea of like living alone nowadays and having no distractions and like no roommates, and find out who you are, and like American kind of like generational like hype of America is very individualistic as a culture. So we don't grow up after 18, after 18, we don't consider familial obligations within our reach. It's turn 18 in America, grow up, figure out where your new housing is, your new job. If you're gonna get in college, that's a different situation. But you, essentially, the point is you gotta take care of yourself after 18. In Latin American countries, and other countries around the world, it's not uncommon for 3 generations to live in one household and be a part of a continuous community and village that loves and supports you, where your skills are shared and you're contributing and everyone's working together as a team. So that's called a collective society, a collective culture, a collective identity. And America's like very individualistic, so it's like we grow up and we want to know who we are and like what we can contribute and what kind of like we can get on like an individual level. And like that's a little bit more recent too, with like millennial and Generation Z. You know how they like kind of criticize us for being self-involved or self-absorbed, like selfies, XYZ. So I'm just like, if we truly understood in a way that if it was presented right, how femmes and like females are really the rib of a man, and that's, we like help make up part of the man, and like they care and provide for us. Like it's very interdependent and very like much of a coexisting like harmony like going on there. Like if we fulfill our roles, then men can fulfill their roles. But if we're constantly trying to do each other's roles, the first thing that's going to happen inevitably is an argument or some friction or some type of consequence of like why that's effing everybody's vibes up, because it's not natural. So of course there's going to be a brawl over that, like spiritually on the platforms, virtually, and with other like tangents of different consequences of how it's detrimental for men, because there's all the expectation that they pay for dinner, they pay for this, they do everything, but then women get to set thirst traps, and then a lot of money goes down the drain if women decide that she doesn't want to like continue to see him or do any physical intimacy with him, and so a lot of men get left feeling really manipulated, really taken advantage of, and start to see women as honestly like kind of like we're like being leeches looking for like free resources that we can get just based off of our privilege of looking the way we are, or the age or youth that we have, and the vitality, and we think that that's going to last forever type of thing. And there's a lot of truth to how social media has affected like gender dynamics, where men are very much getting the shorter end of the stick. So if we just wrap our minds around the fact that it's not giving up anything to gain a union. In fact, you're growing. You might have some sort of sacrifices, of course, that you're not able to do, of course, when you're single, but that's literally, you're gaining more out of that. Like you have to make the decision whether or not you're ready to decide to commit and then be in that union. You know what I'm saying? So once we get those roles in the relationship, if we just had a more balanced scale of the roles, and there wasn't so much friction on a virtual platform as well, I just think there'd be a more positive reputation for women submitting to their husbands, because it's, in my mind, the way I saw it today after watching that YouTube video, is it's not negative. You're a part. You're his rib. Like, you're indispensable to what makes him him, and that's an honor. Like, that's a blessing. That's amazing. But so I don't see why women aren't wanting to like willingly take up that offer. Like, that's incredible, and like, no one's perfect. You know what I'm saying? Like, I am like, no one's perfect. So there's so much like room for forgiveness if there's like people in a union, and then you wanted to take on more of this role, but they took on more of this role. Like, there's so much to gain by coming together and letting go of egos. It's unreal, but I think most of us have a very hard time getting to that point. And I think a lot of us, unfortunately, won't ever experience what it's like to be in a relationship where it's so uninfluenced from modern norms, where the pressures to switch the roles exist or don't exist. That is what is rare, is if there's a relationship and the roles are comfy the way they are traditionally, and the people in the relationship are happy, and not letting modern day media and toxicity deplete what God has set out for us. We're the supporter, we're the helper, we're the nurturer for the men. The men are the provider, the man of the household, and that's it. That's how it's done. And if we could just be more than ecstatic or grateful for what God gave us, I just, the way I saw it today after that YouTube video was like, oh, it's not like, it's not lowering yourself down as a woman to be submissive to your husband and become like submissive in the, like, in with the person you want to be, and like letting that down, like letting the man lead. It just is. It just completely is all about what real love and God set out for us. So like 1 Corinthians, I wrote it down, love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. and it keeps no record of wrongs. If we could see that taking on the role of letting men lead as women in modern day, you're doing your guys such a favor, ladies. You know what I'm saying? Because you're showing them that you respect them enough to trust them, to let them lead. That's what they really want. Let them lead. That's who they are. That's what they're doing. That's what they're gonna do with or without you. So they need you. So buckle up and sit down for a second or two, just to stop trying to do the manly roles. Just for a second, just consider, what would it be like if I actually let my husband lead? If it's the man that's set out for you by God, then God is working for you through your husband, and vice versa for wives and their husband. Sometimes God will have messages come through from your husband just for you. But that won't happen unless you trust the man that God has put in your life and let him lead. Alrighty, I'd like to share one more cool experience that I had, and it was when I first ever arrived to New York for the first time in my life, and after I met a bit, so it was very exciting, and I was, 22, and I was 3 days away from turning 22, and I flew in December 13th, and was waiting to get off the plane, but we were stuck on the tarmac for a second. I didn't know anybody. It was just me. I didn't have any family over. I had one friend that I knew that lived in Brooklyn, but that was it. And I came to New York, and I got rid of all my stuff and came over with a carry-on and was like, I'm going to be a writer and change the world. And we were waiting on the tarmac, waiting to get off the plane. I had a little bit of dark chocolate left from the airport that I bought in PDX, and there was this girl who just was bubbly and was had a blanket and was just like, yeah, Mom, we're talking to some family member. It sounded like family or a partner or sounded very familial, family vibes, and she was like, yeah, we're stuck on the tarmac, and she was cute and just being funny and bubbly, and had a big smile on her face, but was saying how much longer are we gonna be here? And she just had so much excitement, and it really matched my energy at the time because I was just getting to New York for the first time, and I think I mentioned that to her, and we were just chit chat for a little bit, and I shared with her my last piece of chocolate before I got off the warm plane and into cold New York, because that was my thinking. I was let's just stay on the plane because I actually don't have anywhere to go tonight. I didn't plan that out, so if we just stay in the plane, I don't have to get out in the cold. But I was kind of thinking that, and I really enjoyed her company because she was the first friendly person I spoke to, my first interaction at all in New York, technically in New York because we're landing on the tarmac. And I gave her my last piece of chocolate, and she said, "That's love." That's all I got for you guys. Stay tuned for more awesome content. Episode 6, seriously story time. I really appreciate the subscriptions. We got 2 new subs this past week. Whoop whoop. And comments, and as always, the likes. Appreciate it so much. And if you can, share with friends if any of them particularly moved you. Comment and or email me if you want to share other opinions or perspectives on what topics we're discussing, because there's a lot that goes into it, and the reason I share it is because I actually want to know, what do you guys think too? Love it, love it, love it. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay chosen. Peace.